Hey there, gang. Welcome back to Papa's Model Workshop. I'm Papa. This is my workshop. A couple of things that I want to announce. One is that Papa's Model Workshop has got an online store that is up and running. Yay! Now I'll show you. This is a prototype, but this is one of the hats. All right. Now the hats in the store are similar to this. It's not exactly like this, but this hat is well, you can see it's a black hat. If you go to the store, you can actually get a choice of colors. So again, this is just a prototype, but the other hats in the store, you can choose your colors and it looks very similar to this. I also have my Papa's Model Workshop shirt on today, and let me see here if I can show you this. I got a nice long sleeve sweatshirt here. Okay, with what? All right. And then on the back, all right, pretty cool stuff. Okay, so you can view a lot of that stuff. Again, it's similar to what I just showed you, but it's not exact. But you can view it over on the online store. Now, you know how good I am with technology. The link isn't up on the YouTube channel yet. I do have a link on my Facebook side, so I'm going to show you that. If you give me just 1 second, I'll show you. Okay, and here is the link. If you go to Papa's Model Workshop on Facebook, all right, and you will see this. You'll have to scroll down and you will see this in red, and the blue writing is the link. Okay, and if you click on that link, you will go to the store, and you will be able to get well, a bunch of stuff. An apron like this, for example, that says Papa's Model Workshop on it. These aprons are great, by the way. I mean, you know, I used to oil paint many years ago. I think I've mentioned that. And back in those days, you know, my brushes and even the palette knives that I used, I got in the habit of using them, and then I would wipe it on my apron. So when I got into modeling again, I kind of instinctively went back to that habit, and I started wiping stuff on my shirt, which is not a good thing to do. So that's why I started wearing the apron, and you can get an apron like this over in the online store, and it says Papa's Model Workshop on it. This one does not say it. This is my same old apron. My apron is actually on its way here. I haven't gotten it yet, and have a Papa's Model Workshop cup that's on its way. So like I said, you can get a whole bunch of stuff over there. Take a look at it, scroll through, and lots of good stuff. Okay, and while we're on that bandwagon, let me mention my sponsor, Gallery. Okay, and if you purchase anything at Gallery, if you put in my discount code right there in red, PPMW, all right, you get 10% off of anything, okay? Airbrushes, equipment, paints, whatever have you. And they've got some really terrific paint, the Kaleido paint line. I'm going to show you the Del Rey inside the workshop in just a minute, okay? I'll show you how great that paint looks. Let's see, what else? I have a couple of questions here. This one is from Michael Young 1927, and Michael was asking me why I scribe my panel lines after I paint. He was asking, why don't you do it before you paint? You could, I guess, but my reasoning is if you scribe your panel lines before you paint, okay, because the entire premise of scribing your panel lines is to make the panel lines deeper. So if you make them deeper and then you paint over it, the paint is going to backfill what you just scribed. Enamel paint in particular will fill in those panel lines a little bit more than lacquer and acrylic, but still, even lacquer and acrylic paint will still backfill those newly scribed panel lines to a degree. So that's just my reasoning and my way of doing it. If you are in the habit of scribing before you paint and you're having good results with that, then by all means continue to do that. Everything that I show you is simply my way of doing things. It is by no means the one and only right way. It's just simply my way. Just a point that you can cross-reference. So anyway, that's the reason why I do the panel lines that way. Okay, and let's see. Ken Swanger 4738. He wants to know, am I still working on the Peterbilt wrecker? I know, Ken, if you've been following that the progress on that wrecker, I apologize. I haven't referenced it too much lately. I got sidetracked with the Del Rey, but yes, I am still working on it. It's kind of an interesting contrast between the Del Rey and the wrecker, because the Del Rey I'm trying to do nice and refined and shiny so it looks nice, and the wrecker I'm kind of grunging up and I'm putting rust on there and kind of making it look like it's all ratty and used and so forth. It's a wrecker truck, so it's gonna be out and exposed to the elements, and it's gonna be rusty and so on and so forth. And it's just an interesting contrast going from the nice and shiny and then going over to all rusty and grungy. So anyway, I'll show you the wrecker truck, or the update or the progress of where I am on that wrecker truck when we get back into the shop. I just want to take 1 second and mention something. I get a number of questions that are sent to me in various methods, either direct message or private message, whatever you call it, or emails and so forth. The one thing that I've kind of noticed, which is somewhat of a common thread, I guess you could call it, is a lot of people who ask questions will start off with, well, I hope this isn't a dumb question, or I hope you don't think this is stupid. I just want to stop and address this. No question is stupid. The one thing that you should realize, okay, boiling things down to brass tacks, is if you don't know something, then the best way to find out what you don't know is to ask. I know sometimes when you go on a forum or a group and you ask a question, there are those one or two individuals out of a whole group, okay, that will give you a snarky answer or a snarky reply, or say something sarcastic or belittling. I want you to know that you will never, ever have to worry about that by addressing a question to me on this channel or on my Facebook page, okay? I take every single question seriously with no judgment. And the fact of the matter is every YouTube content creator is the exact same way. So that's not just me, okay? You can feel free and confident to ask your questions no matter what, okay, to any content creator on YouTube, and you will get a response that takes your question seriously, okay? So, like I said, there are those one or two individuals who like to, be sarcastic or snarky. Disregard them, because really that is not at all how the people in this hobby are. Most people in this hobby are willing to help with anybody's questions. And the one common thread that we all share, okay, as model builders, right, no matter what your current level is, I don't care how high on the totem pole you are, the one common thread we all share is we were all beginners at one time. We all started at zero, okay? So feel free, ask your questions, and any questions that come through my channel or my Facebook page, I will do my best to answer them. And if I don't know, I will find somebody who does know, because the other important thing is I want to make sure that you get the right answer, okay? Because if you get an answer and then you try to apply that answer to what you're working on, I don't want it to be ruined with an answer that isn't really factual, okay? So bottom line to that is, feel free to ask your questions. Let's head back to the workshop, okay? I'll see you there. Okay, gang, we're here at the paint bench, and here is the update on the Del Rey. I mentioned that I was thinking about going with the gold trim, or chrome, gold chrome, I guess you could call it. And as you can plainly see, that's what I did here. All right, and I think it came out pretty nice. I went with the standard aluminum chrome, I guess you'd call it, up here. And yeah, I like the color contrast. I think it came out pretty nice. All right. So, you know, yeah, it's coming along. So, you know, I know that some folks were asking me for an update on this. And yeah, that's where we are. Okay. Now, on the other side of the coin, let me get this out of the way. Here's where I am with regard to the chassis and so forth. Get my coffee out of here. Hang on, guys. Okay. And this is going to be, now remember, this is for the Assemblers United group build, and this is supposed to be a box stock, right? So this engine is pretty much going to stay the way that it is displayed here. I'm not going to put any wiring or anything like that on there. I may rust it, you know, I may dirty it up a little bit. And one of the ways that I do that is I will use this Tamiya weathering kit. All right. This is particularly great if you want to put that carbon scorched look on your exhaust and so forth. Let me see if I can open this up. Here you go. Okay. And it comes with a thing, looks like a makeup pad. Something like that, and you can tell that this has gotten its uses and so forth. But this would be for that carbon scorched look underneath on the muffler or the exhaust. I suppose there are spots on the engine where you could do that. The trick that I have discovered with this is you want to use this very sparingly. You know, sometimes you get that on there and it looks pretty good, and you kind of go to town with it. And if you overdo it, it loses its effect. So you want to do this very sparingly. That's just my opinion. This, of course, is your rust. And this is, you know, if you want to show oil stains or grunge like that, that's what you would use that for. Okay, so this is just one of the things that I use. All right, Tamiya has a number of these. Let me see, do I have another one here? I did have another one here, but I don't know where oh, this is actually the same. Yeah, this is the same kit, same colors. Let me see if I can find those other ones. Hang on. Okay, took me a couple of minutes to figure out what I did with these. I had them up on the pegboard. And by the way, speaking of the pegboard, and I'm losing my camera here, my friend John Pilger was asking me about a part. And John, yep, your part was hanging on the pegboard. It's still here. So anytime you're ready to come by and pick it up, here it is, okay? I have to pause this again. This camera mount is hanging over here. Hang on, guys. Okay, I think I've got things a little steadier. This camera mount just doesn't want to cooperate. So you know what I'm doing? I'm standing here with my foot on the base. That should hold it in place and help me get through this segment. Anyway, here are some of the other options that you can get with this weathering kit from Tamiya. This one is snow. Isn't that pretty cool? And soot. And we've got some different colored rust right there. This one is, well, we've got orange rust again and gunmetal, all right, and some silver. So there are a number of options. This one has yellow, gray, and green, all right. And what else do we have here? Titanium, light gunmetal, and copper. So these are great. And the other thing that I use for weathering are these. This is from AK, all right? And this is, well, it's exactly like a paint, really, but it's specifically colored to make it look like rust. And here's another one. This is light rust, All right, so there you do. There you go. Two of them from AK, and you can use these for rust effects. Okay, and I'll show you. Let me get this out of the way. All right, here is the Peterbilt wrecker right here. Okay, and yeah, you see the rust effects that I've got going there. All right, and that's a combination of the Tamiya, all right, and the AK. All right, so here we have the Del Rey. Let me get this again. This is awkward because every time I reach over, I have to make sure I hold this camera mount because I'm keeping my foot on the base. All right, so we've got this all grungy, and then we've got this is all nice and shiny and so forth. So it's a real contrast between what I'm working on, and it's kind of neat. So, and for those of you who maybe, I started this Peterbilt wrecker so long ago. This is what the colors are going to be for that Peterbilt wrecker. I went with a turquoise and white color. All right, and in fact, let me see here. Yeah, it'll be something like this. Hang on, let me see if I can quickly put that together like that. Right, so that's going to look kind of like that. And I think that's going to look really nice. I like this turquoise and white color. This is MCW, Seafoam. What is this? Hold on a second. What is this? Seafoam turquoise. Yeah, it's a metallic. All right, and that's what this is. Okay. That really kind of matches, doesn't it? And, this truck, again, I'll probably put some rust and so forth that's streaking down. So not sure. But anyway, to answer the question, am I still working on this? Yes, I am. Again, I just got sidetracked with it. And I will try to get back to this a little bit more often, at least in terms of trying to update. I haven't had much of an update, though, because I haven't really done much with this at all. Like I said, I got sidetracked with the Del Rey. And then, of course, I've got the USAC build that I'm going to get started with, but I don't think I'm going to get started with that until I get either the Del Rey or this wrecker completed. I don't want to have three going at once. So I think with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Before I do, I'll tell you what. Some folks were asking me about the gold and the silver and so forth. This was just done with bare metal foil. All right. That's all that was. And I will show you. This is the chrome. Okay. My ratty looking thing of bare metal foil here. Okay. And that's the chrome part up here. And you can get this in gold, as you can see. Okay. And there you go. There's the bare metal foil you can get in the gold color. All right. And you can actually get this in black. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find that. I do have a black one here somewhere. Be patient with me, guys. It's here. And of course, I've got you holding and I can't find it. You know what? I'm going to pause this thing. Hang on. Okay. There's the black one. Okay. So you can get it in the gold. You can get it in chrome, aluminum, various colors. Okay. I know some of you have mentioned in the past that, you find the bare metal foil difficult to work with. I'll tell you, it's really not that difficult. And I'll tell you the secret to doing it, okay? It's very simple. The secret to doing this is going slowly, all right? One of the things that I do is I will measure out precisely what I need with these measuring calipers, okay? And I will cut sections. Okay, so I'm not going to do this entire section. All right, I'll cut off, actually, I'll show you this section here. All right, I'll do this section first, then I'll cut off another section up here, and then you see how this kind of goes around in a curve? I'll make this in two sections, and of course, this is a separate section in itself. So don't try to cut off one long piece to do this whole thing all at once. That's not going to work. Do it in sections. Measure out what you need. And one of the things that I do is I use a scalpel blade. All right. This is my regular number 11 blade in my X-Acto knife. Okay. And this is a scalpel blade down below. All right. Yep. See that? All right. This is a surgical scalpel blade. Okay. And that's what I use on the bare metal foil. Okay. And the reason I do that is because this will cut the bare metal foil rather easily, and it will not require me to push down and perhaps scratch the paint. So what I do is when I'm cutting my bare metal foil, I hold it at the end here, okay? I don't want to hold this all the way up here and bear down, all right? I hold this all the way back here. I just let the weight of the blade go along the bare metal foil, okay? And I just allow it to cut it. And with a surgical blade like this, it will. It's a scalpel blade. You can get it on Amazon. And, you know, where you've got your seam, okay, for example, I'll actually feel my way along by getting that blade down there, and I just go right along the edge and just pull it through, okay? That's just my way of doing it. There's probably other ways of doing it, but I'm just simply sharing my way. Okay, and yeah, this has the gloss varnish on it, so it's got a nice shine going. So anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap things up. Oh, by the way, Bill Beers in Wisconsin, your shop card is on its way. All right, and if you want a shop card, here's my email address, okay, right there. And I will be happy to send you a shop card. And if you are a content creator and you want to swap shop cards, there you go. There's my mailing address. Okay. So as usual, thank you very much for tuning in. I am 2 or 3 away from 800 subscribers. And for those of you who have subscribed, I've got to thank you very, very much. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. And when I get to 1,000, I will have a giveaway to celebrate that. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, okay, and the little bell notification, and that way you'll know when I upload a video. If you are on the Facebook side, jump over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Help me get to 1,000. Now, like I said, I'm only 2 or 3 away from going over the 800 mark. All right, folks. Well, listen, thank you again. And thank you to my subscribers who have subscribed. I couldn't continue this channel without you, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you who write to me on email or send me comments or messages on the instant messenger and so forth. I really love interacting with every one of you. I love this hobby very, very much, and I love talking about it. And of course, we had the little discussion earlier about, you know, sending in your questions. No question is dumb or anything like that. It's never taken that way. We all started at 0, and we all learn as we go. All right, so I will see you all in the next video.